Well, hi, we're here with a special installment of Sports from the Stool. My name's Greg Price, and we have a special guest today in Alvin Powell, guest speaker with Saving Station Foundation. Who just recently did a presentation at St. Mary's School, and I guess just for viewers out there, I guess if you could explain about the foundation a little bit.
Well, the foundation was formed in 2010, and it's dedicated to the prevention of substance abuse. And basically what we do is that we go and we give lectures to children. We bring a very hard impact message on the truth and the dangers of drugs through my experience and what happened to me as a former NFL football player, and how drugs devastated my life and brought me to the brink of death, and how I came to recover from that experience, and now I've dedicated my life to helping children.
And just one thing that really stood out for me in the presentation is just exactly how raw and real it was. It was, no sugarcoating anything. A message that you said as a former member of the Seattle Seahawks and Miami Dolphins is that you're not sort of a former drug addict, you're a continuing recovering drug addict is what you're saying. So is it just, there's no finish line to it, I guess. Is that your summation as far as just...
Well, the truth of the matter in terms of what you're just saying is that I have recovered, but the process of staying recovered never ends.
Never ends.
And it's like, if you could take it as though like you went to a doctor and he diagnosed that you had a form of diabetes, and he said, listen, you have to follow a particular regimen, you have to lose weight, you have to change your diet, you have to exercise. Now, as an individual, you might just go ahead and leave the doctor's office and say, you know something, I love my apple pie and my chocolate shakes, and I ain't giving it up. You can make that decision, but he also points out that if you don't follow the suggestions that he gives you, your body will debilitate. You will start to probably have to put you on dialysis. We'll probably start cutting body parts after, and you'll die a miserable death from your disease of diabetes. And it's the same thing when it comes to the disease of addiction. There's no difference. If you don't follow a particular regimen and the suggestions that are given to you by those in the know, you will suffer and suffer greatly, and then you'll die.
Your message is just right from, what is it that starting point for you that sent you down that rough road? One thing that really stood out for me is your first point of contact. Everyone thinks it's this, evil drug dealer lurking around the corner. Your first point of contact, like you were saying, it's two things. It's a friend or a family member.
Absolutely.
And how do you get the message through to some of these kids that have that feeling of invulnerability that, well, that's not going to happen to me?
There's a saying, and it might sound cliches, but the truth shall set you free. When I do this presentation, the truth is my weapon. And so when I'm presenting and I say to the kids, it's a friend or a family member that introduced you to drugs, they know, first of all, I have no way of knowing who they are. And secondly, I have no way of knowing how they came in to use drugs and who that person was. And so the truth always strikes a chord with them. And so when you say that, they reflect back on when they first used it, they go, yeah, he's right. And so as the presentation evolves, all these truths keeps hitting them and hitting them and hitting them. And so when we start to talk about things that will happen down the road that is not in their present reality, you understand, they believe it because they say, well, this guy was so accurate with things that he has no way of knowing about me. There's no way he could know these things. I've never seen this man. And so when he starts to tell me about what's going to happen and how it will evolve into something very dark and destructive, there's a good chance that he's also right on them about that too.
And I guess you, for yourself, how do you find, and how often do you, how many schools do you actually tour as far as talking to kids, and how has the reception been to the tour?
It's been overwhelming. Normally what we do at Saving Station, when I do these presentations, I like to do the presentations first thing in the morning. As you see, the kids will come forward. But what normally happens is that not only do they come forward, but they admit that there is an ongoing problem. And so I'm allowed to work with that child right then and there that day at the school. And that has been very effective for Saving Station Foundation. Furthermore, each kid is given that 8x10 picture which they want me to autograph. with the information on how they can contact us, and we'll receive an enormous amount of emails that way. And they'll say, listen, this is what's going on in my house, my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, myself, this is what's going on, what do I do? And then we're able to give them a definite course of direction to take.
At the beginning of the story, you describe yourself, you're pretty hard-headed at the beginning of your life story. I guess, as I say, just breaking down, I could even see a few kids, sort of 99% of the kids were just in awe of your presentation, but I could see a couple of kids were sort of, yada, 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 zoning things out. How is reaching those kids and that sense of invulnerability, or how do you, I guess the misconceptions out there, another thing that you had said is, don't just talk to your friends, talk to an expert. And I could sort of sense is that, well, this is what my friend is telling me about drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you break that down and that, getting those hard-headed kids, that message through, I guess, as far as in coming to experts as opposed to just their friends?
Well, all you can do is just put the truth out there, like I said before. And one of the things that I always tell family members, especially when they have a son or a daughter or someone that's suffering from the disease of addiction, is that you have to accept the fact that you only have control over one human being, which is yourself. You cannot forcibly make another person do what you want them to do, or come to some truth about what's ailing them. When it comes to this particular situation, your role is to let them know, first of all, that you love them very much, and you very much care about their well-being, and to take a course of action in which they can help themselves in terms of go to see this person, call this particular agency, here's this particular treatment center, and then the last thing that you're left with is to pray for them and hope that they will make that decision and come to that place where they accept the fact that they have a problem, acknowledge it, and take a course of action to do something about it. Other than that, that's it. You cannot force an individual. You can put the information out there, you can encourage them, like I said before, but they have to make that decision for themselves.
Well, I guess just to sum up, I guess your whole life story, if readers would like to read this next week's paper for his whole story, but I guess just to sum up, I guess any other ways that people can contact your foundation?
Well, you can contact me at apowell@savingstationfoundation and .com. You can also reach me by phone at area code 514-421-5510. Our extension is 222. And you can also contact Malcolm Cano of Kids Sport, and which is here locally, which is an organization totally dedicated into helping children through sports, and they will be able to help you and contact you and steer you in the right direction also.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for meeting with us, Alvin. This is Greg Price reporting from Stool. Thank you very much. And again, read our article in next week's paper.